Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to North Shore Live Cooper's Corner. We're live this evening. It's December the 10th, 2014. Christmas is right around the corner. I hope you like our decorations. Vic Walter did this. He's an expert on everything, but we certainly cannot do without him because he designs beautifully. Also, I would like to make mention about my friend Judy Bartopinka, who passed away suddenly. Judy has been on the program many, many times, and we go back all the way to her dad, seeing him, and I'm just so saddened, so deeply heartfelt saddened, and my thoughts, my prayers go out to comfort her family at this time of need. I'm just so saddened by the passing of Judy Bartopinka, one of Illinois' best friends, Illinois' best friend, Judy Bartopinka. God rest your soul, Judy. Now this evening, I'm sure that you must have seen our front page of the regarding the blogger. What was the statement what we made?
Illinois' most dangerous blogger.
Yes. Illinois' most dangerous blogger. That happens to be my guest. And that is, without a doubt, dangerous. I don't think she's dangerous, but dangerous to the ones who are fearful of being uncovered. And that happens to be the situation that we're looking at this evening. And so we have JoAnne Denison, who is a patent attorney, and she is Illinois' most dangerous blogger. So welcome to the program. And please, I think my guests are going to be so excited to find out that Illinois has a dangerous blogger. So what are we talking about here, JoAnne? What happened?
Well, according to the ARDC, or Attorney Registration and Disciplinary Committee, they have decided that I have to be suspended from the practice of law for 3 years because all I did was blog about cases in probate. And in particular, we know the Sykes case. Although I blog about your case, which I have found to be extremely appalling, I blog about a number of cases where there's no jurisdiction, assets are missing, people count gold teeth, and it's very scary because your mother's 29 gold teeth were pulled.
That's right.
That was Judge Kawamoto, and the attorneys involved were David Martin, so everybody knows.
David Martin and
Miriam Solo.
Miriam Solo, Karen Bowes, and Bruce Lang. Mm-hmm. And they all agreed it was a wonderful thing. I was denied to even see my mother. And
for a long time, correct?
10 months.
Yes.
They didn't want me to see her. And I think in that time frame, they were extracting her teeth. I had no knowledge about any of this. And when we were finally allowed to visit her, by the way, for 1 hour, it's only 1 hour a week I could see her. 1 hour.
How sad.
And $160 to go visit my own mother every time.
And that was not anybody that you would normally hire. This comes from a secret list in probate, right?
Absolutely. I didn't hire these people. I had no idea. I trusted our attorney, Karen Bowes, who worked or works still for Ronella and Ronella, downtown Chicago. And she didn't let me know anything or try to help with the situation. She just let the court carry me away with whatever they wanted to do. And Judge Kawamoto, who happened to have left town because we brought so much pressure on her, because she was scheduled to go on. She was appointed, never elected, but always appointed. She just picked up another appointment to that position on the probate floor, and then she picked up and moved to Texas. Just, that's it. She's gone, and that's it. And I think it was certainly the pressure, and being on the program, we certainly notified everybody about her. But if anybody has any problems or had problems with Judge Kawamoto that was on in probate court, please let us know. Contact me, or you can contact JoAnne, because these are things that that she was responsible for. She's the judge in the courtroom, and she was holding me responsible for whatever the problems were with the attorneys. It was my fault, and blaming me. I had nothing to do with that. I didn't even know what they were doing, and I said to her exactly that in court. I said, I don't even know what's happening here. What's going on? And she laughed at me.
Yeah, many of the judges laughed. They rolled their eyes.
Yeah, she just laughed at me in court.
Rude.
Just laughed at me in court, like, you sucker. You're here, and now we're going to drain your mother's account of $1.5 million, and then we're going to take all the gold from her mouth, and then we're going to kill her. And that's what they did. They starved her to death, dehydrated her and starved her. They didn't allow her to eat her food, and they put in a gastrointestinal tube, which was totally unnecessary. This is all baloney business. They say they can't swallow. My mother was a wonderful eater.
Well, I can tell you why they do that. I'm finding that out now. If they eat too slow, the nursing home is not going to sit there and cut up their food and lovingly feed them 3 times a day for 15 to 20 minutes. These are nursing homes that take in $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a month. For-profit nursing homes. That's where the problem is.
It was $15,000.
$15,000 a month.
Bar Pavilion, downtown Chicago.
$1,000 a month to carry out their job, do their duty, and yet they bill anywhere from $4,000 to $15,000 a month, and they won't spend 15 to 20 minutes every meal cutting up your mother's food and lovingly spoon-feeding her.
It took me 2 hours. She was a slow eater, but she ate everything. All of her life she was a slow eater. But the court hired, I didn't, hired in a secondary caregiver. What was that for? She was bedridden. There was no need for that. They didn't take her to the opera, and they certainly didn't take her ice skating. She was on Oak Street, downtown Chicago, and there was no need. She never left the bedroom. That was it. Never left the bedroom.
Well, the reason why they hire him, and of course this person came from a secret list. It's not like you bid out the job. It's not like this was the best person for the job. You had no control over it, and you didn't even know who she was, correct?
The lady, the girl, didn't even speak English. And she was just sitting there doing what? Nothing.
Well, we have a lot of complaints about that. The caregivers that they hire, they're all court connected. They're all tied in. Rehab assist is one
Rehab
example.
assist is what it was.
Was it rehab assist
Absolutely.
with Tom Kleinhens? Now, if you walk around the 18th floor, they're going to tell you what a great guy this guy is. Right now, they're isolating another guy, Gary Frake. He's his only son, and he can't go and see his father. They schedule everything during the week. They know he works.
See?
He's just a working Joe that does concrete, and they won't schedule it on the weekends. I've begged the court. I've put in so many pleadings to the court. Get somebody else. There are hundreds of licensed agencies that can do this. And then when these guys show up and rehab assist and charge their $150, $200 an hour, whatever they charge.
And whatever it was.
Do you know what they do? They sit there and they play on their cell phones.
Well, this one was drawing pictures.
Oh,
but,
there you go, drawing pictures. That's $160 an hour.
Yeah, easy. Who could even interpret that? But the point is that that wasn't needed. The job of the nursing home, which is owned by Morris is Formis. He purchased it. We didn't even know that. But Miriam Solo and Morris is Formis are related.
Right, they're exes.
And she's the one that brought my mother there. I didn't bring my mother there. She just had her way to take and do whatever they wanted to do in the courtroom. We had 3 CPAs go down the list of all the monies that she had. We never took a penny. We always put in for her, but we never. And still, and they didn't even give us money to bury my mother with. But David Martin and his daughter Melissa Martin made out like a bandit because 2 years after Mother passed away, they were still paying the Martins for what?
Attorney's fees.
Attorney's fees
$20,000 a year or something like that.
for what? For
nothing. Showing up in court.
For coming to court, thousands of dollars just to come to court. Are they communing with her spirit or something? She wasn't there. How can they even say that they were doing anything for her, and yet collecting 2 years? But they wouldn't give me money to bury my own mother. And when we asked to bring the family in on the weekends, because everybody was working, the children didn't, and the great-grandchildren and the children, they wanted to see their grandmother or their great-grandmother, they wouldn't allow it. It had to be what they scheduled and not what we were able to accommodate.
That's what they do all the time, because it adds to the isolation. And then the ward gets helpless, they get despondent, and it's easier to kill them when they're ready to kill them. And we all know that that is one of the main reasons why many of these elderly people die. They're isolated and they're lonely. But this is isolation and loneliness that is forced by court order. And right now, I've got somebody, he hasn't seen his father for 2 months. Why? Every time he goes there, his father's leaning over, he's drooling, he says he's in pain, and they deny he's on pain meds, but, everybody else looks at him, they're like, oh, he must be on something. What is going on here? He will have, tremors and all that. Peck and Bloom denies it up and down the wall, and they're another firm that's tied into this. They won't do anything. The son can't see his father, and yet people who stole from the estate, they can come over and see him anytime.
But see, that's the whole problem, is the ones that were stealing, Miriam Solo, Miriam and David Martin and Melissa Martin never even saw my mother. They're collecting her money.
Correct.
My inheritance, whatever we had, my mother worked for to give to her children, they stole that money and doing nothing and denying her to be with her family and her children, and she died frightened, alone, without family, nobody there, isolated. The door was closed, and they let her die. Yes, gone.
Money was gone, they let her die. Now, if your mother had hired a contractor or somebody like that, and they took all their money and did nothing, the estate would be over some little guy off the street. But because it's a court-connected and protected personnel that have no audits, no controls, that we had that GAO report, a government report, said that they had tons of stories, 20, 30 stories in the report, saying this was shameful, it was rampant across the nation, there's few controls, and people get in there, this cottage industry. I even went to Alderman Fioretti. We know who he is, right?
Oh, yes.
He admitted to my face, the 18th floor is a cottage industry.
Corrupt.
Full of people that will take anything from an estate without any controls. And the judges let them do it, and they don't look at it.
And one of the judges that won the prize to be in probate is the same judge that didn't send that cop to jail after he beat up that little girl in the bar.
Exactly.
He was drunk. He's 300 pounds, 6'5" or 6'8" or whatever, and he beats up this 98-pound little girl, a little Polish girl in her bar. Because
she's an immigrant too.
She didn't want to serve him because he was drunk, and she said no. But they got the video of it, and the judge, we got him. We had
put
him
on the probate floor. Any kind of a bad judge, from traffic court, incompetent, from other lower courts,
DCFS,
right.
Juvenile court.
State's attorneys,
they put them up there
right in there. Yeah. They get state's attorneys
to steal the money,
right?
absolutely.
So that they'll never investigate them. They also put in judges that come from the lower courts that are incompetent. They shove them in probate. They have them do these things, take care of the elderly, and all they do is screw it up left and right, up and down. Sykes case, judge didn't know what jurisdiction is.
No jurisdiction.
Now she's at the Second Circuit. Now she's learning what jurisdiction is because I've seen her reports, and now she actually files decisions saying, oh yeah, you have to have a summons and a complaint. Where was she for Mary Sykes?
8 years she sits on the bench in probate, and she didn't know that you have to have jurisdiction.
Well, you know that from Sykes?
We were there.
That from Sykes.
We were there in court.
Every single moment through Gloria's pain and agony, through the pain and agony of Yolanda Bakken, who is 85 years old, hobbles, still comes to court. Her niece, who has to use a walker because of her disability, they still come to court, and they're the fight for Mary's rights. Mary is still isolated. Gloria doesn't know where she is. She can't visit her. There were so many orders. In front of the court, in front of everybody's face, Judge Stewart would say, make sure Gloria sees her mother, and then the guardian ad litem would turn around and make sure she never saw her mother. And in fact, the one time that we tracked her down and could go see her, what'd they do? They called the police, I took video, and they had the police destroy my tape, which is a complete violation of the Constitution.
Oh, you can't do that. That's not their
Right.
property. That's your property.
Exactly, and the police aren't even supposed to ask to do that. That's such a serious violation of First Amendment rights. So today, the reason why I'm the most dangerous blogger is we have my decision. This is my beautiful decision. You can
papers?
get it on the internet.
Oh.
And I'm sure they'll put up my blog site later. It's
Okay.
www.marygsikes, MARYG-Sykes.com. It is an incredible 65-page, convoluted dancing. I mean, Richard Gere in Chicago couldn't have done a better job tap dancing with this decision. And of course, I would be in trouble for saying that, right? Oh, for sure. I am maligning their impunity right now, folks. I am so maligning it. And all they do is tap dance around the fact that everything that I said on the blog, 10 statements, were true. Gloria wanted to testify. You know why she couldn't testify? Because she didn't turn over 12,000 emails. Now, Gloria is a professional reporter.
Yeah.
Her emails are protected under the Illinois Reporters Privilege Act. Did this tribunal take that into consideration and say we have to give respect to this reporter and her right to tell these stories when and if she wants? No, they violated my copyrights. This is even funnier. Okay, you'll love this. So I filed a copyright suit. They went and they copied my entire blog and they downloaded it and it got dismissed all over the place. And they said, oh, it's frivolous. And if you save something for litigation, that means that you can infringe somebody's copyright. Now, here's the funny part. On the ABA website, they published, that I had this decision and they opened comments. The first comment was, well, 3 years is a good idea for, saying bad things about judges, right? The rest of the comments, probably 200-300 comments, were all in my favor. So that was a plant to begin with. Now, the ABA says it runs an uncensored, open democracy website.
Oh,
they
really?
don't filter the
Yeah,
comments. By Monday morning, I'm sure when Jerome Larkin hit the office, and by the way, that's the head of the ARDC, half the comments were removed. Now, I abide by the law. I got a copyright decision saying if you save it download something and save it, like Pirate Bay got taken down today.
Oh, really?
But, the Seventh Circuit, Jerome Larkin says if you save it for litigation, that's fair use. You can do that. So what did I do with all those comments they wanted to take down because they were embarrassing and not in their favor? I put them up on my blog.
Okay.
All right,
okay.
fair, right?
Fair.
All right, fair use.
Fair.
So this is the thing. You cheat, you lie, you steal. It's karma. It just comes right back to you. So if you want to read the comments in support, grand comments, perfect in support. Family got up there, Gloria Sykes got up there, all kinds of reporters got up there. They were in my favor. Some of the attorneys wrote some of the funniest things about, probate court equals Cook County equals corruption.
Corruption.
Perfect.
Corrupt so
we must
bad.
have had at least 15, 20 anonymous attorneys get up there and say, the probate court is corrupt. But they do it anonymously. Why? You don't want to get suspended like me, right?
Well, and I must put this out publicly, that I invite anyone who has had a problem in probate court of Cook County or probate court in any county to contact me. We'll put you on the program. If you don't want to be seen in front, we'll put you behind a screen. You can speak or talk or tell what's going on, because the corruption is unbearable. They murdered my mother. No one wants to do anything about it. They grabbed the money and they ran. It's a smash and grab, or whatever it's called. All I know is that I cared for her for 5.5 years, never took penny one for her. This was her money that she and my father worked hard all of their life. Mother was 99 years old and not causing a problem to anyone. I'm the only daughter. I was here caring for her, and they were in a hurry. They, meaning the court, Judge Kawamoto, she knows she did wrong. I think Judge Kawamoto may have a problem, because sometimes we found her laughing at herself. I don't know what that is. Miriam Solo, we know Miriam definitely has a problem. We've got paperwork to document that. David Martin and his daughter Melissa Martin stealing money from an estate that the client isn't even above ground. She has been buried for 2 years and wouldn't give us money to bury mother with. Of course, it was the what do you call it? The attorney, the
guardian ad litem, or
no,
probate
he was the one that was. And why did we need two guardians? Well, we had two guardian
ad litem.
Yeah, why did we need? Actually, we had 3. I don't know why that happened at all.
It's a big estate, a lot of money to take out of it.
So, JoAnne, I ask you, what can we do? What can we do to help you, or what can we do to show the public how wrong you were by the state assaulting you and not allowing you to practice law for 3 years? That's absurd. What can we do?
And for only running a blog, I would suggest you know what we found out? You found this out. If you have a valid complaint and you write to the ARDC like you did, you pulled my mother's gold teeth,
Yes.
your attorney's turning the bill.
Yes.
They took money for no reason.
This is true.
And this is brilliant. You went down there a second time. You demanded to see Jerome Larkin. He wrote back the most scathing letter that I put on my blog. So obviously, if you want to push his button, take your complaint down to the ARDC, 15th floor, 130 East Randolph Street. Demand to see Jerome Larkin, and don't leave that reception until you see him and hand it to him and you tell him your mind.
Yeah.
Because we live in an open, free, and democracy. And if I'm an attorney blogger, and I think I'm the only one, from all the comments, everybody said, what a brave woman for blogging about corruption. Everybody should be doing this. I've got another one. We got another one down in Florida. She went to go feed her mother. Same thing. They put in a feeding tube. They don't want to take the time to feed them, which is no worse than the worst Chinese state-run orphanages. What kind of a public outcry did we have over that? We sit there, we say how horrible it is that China won't feed its own orphans, except for they tie their hands around their back and they tie their legs to a chair.
Oh, God, how
and yet
terrible.
your mother, they pull, and I'm sorry, Bev, I'm
That's
really
all right.
sorry. They pull her
That's
teeth and they force a feeding tube in her when she could eat anyway.
This is true.
It's
this
the
is
same
true.
thing. We have the children over here. We have the elders in our country being housed in nursing homes, illegally chemically restrained. We all know. The FDA says no to chemical restraints, psychotropic drugs, Halidol, Risperdal, and yet John Wyman, his mother was repeatedly shot up with those, against her will, held down, and that is completely illegal. See the case in Ray Tiffany. You have to be given a consent form. You have to agree to it, even if you're incompetent, unless you really can't make that decision. They have to respect your right to stay off of psychotropic drugs, which are not recommended. They will make you mentally ill if you're over 60 or under 20. And the FDA knows it, and that's why we've got all those children that run around, take everybody out with machine guns. It's all over the internet.
Yes, it's terrible. It's terrible.
But here we do it to elders. We do it to elders. We give them these illegal drugs 30 to 40%.
If you would say that the family doesn't want to have anything to do with their loved ones, that's different. But here the family cares for them, wants to take care of them.
Well, you wanted to take your mother home.
Yes, she wanted it. She said, "Get me out of here. Take me home."
That's why it's just fraud. It's fraud on the family.
Yeah, I couldn't take her out. I didn't put her in. Miriam Solo did that.
Right. It's a fraud on the expectancy of your inheritance. And I know, Bev, I encourage you, please, open up the estate, go and sue these people. You may not win, but we need to get more and more people in there. And I'm going to tell you, I've been looking at this. I think most of this stuff is just fraud on the court. Fortunately, if you plead fraud in the court, then there is no statute of limitations. So remember that.
Okay.
But I really encourage you to get in there, get the body exhumed. I know you have pictures. I've asked for them before.
Yes,
I
we
know
have pictures.
Can you get them to me?
We have
They've
pictures.
got to get
yes.
out there, please,
Yes.
please.
And
medical evidence, please get it out.
I wrote 6 letters, and I told our previous attorney, Karen Bowes, that was our attorney for 27 years. She's the one that brought us into this court. There was no need, JoAnne. I was power of attorney, durable power of attorney. And you cannot tell me that Karen Bowes didn't know that takes first place. But she's told me that guardianship trumps Those are her words.
That's not true.
Guardianship trumps power of attorney in Illinois.
That is not true. Let me explain the Illinois Power of Attorney Act to you. If you haven't read it, I'm going to tell you, and this is why they want to shut down my blog. The person who has power of attorney, they have been told what the advance directives are, how they want to be treated, who is to make the
That's right.
decisions, how the decisions are to
That's
be made.
exactly so.
Only when the person cannot make their decisions. Illinois, as many, many states, have what's called a sliding scale guardianship setup. That's our Illinois Probate Act. So that means that you don't just step in and make a decision that's contrary to what the ward wants. If the ward can make a competent, reasonable decision, whatever that decision is, I want to live in a nursing home, I want to live with my daughter, I want to live with you, I want to go from here, whatever that thing that the ward wants to do, and they're not put in danger, the ward gets to make that decision. But how many wards do we know, and how many nursing homes can you go to today, and everybody wants to go home, and you know there's a pot of money that they're using to keep them in that nursing home. And it's often like you, not the family. And if you go up against these people, they'll say, your power of attorney doesn't work. Oh, we have to put you in a nursing home. I run into seniors all the time. Once they get into the nursing home, then they're told you can't get out unless your power of attorney signs for you, which is not true. You can't get out unless somebody signs for you. And your doctor has to give you a note. Oh, that's not the right doctor. They keep them there, these poor old people, by telling them a pack of lies.
They frightened my mother so terribly.
In the
They
nursing
frightened
homes.
her so terribly. These pictures that we have are absolutely devastating.
I want the pictures. Please.
I will get you the pictures. And I was telling you the 6 letters that I sent. I told Karen Bowes, I'm going to send these letters to Judge Kawamoto. Oh, she said, don't do that. You can't just send a letter to the judge. Of course you can send a letter to the judge.
Yes, I want to tell you that too. Anytime you're dissatisfied with what's going on in your court case, you can send a letter to that judge, but please send it to the presiding judge. The presiding judge is the one that instructs the judges. He brings things up at the judges' meetings. He may not talk about the case in particular, but he should go back and remind the judges of how to behave. We currently have a judge that's just been put on administrative leave for a minimum of 2 months. Why? Because there were 48 instances of her putting people in her courtroom in jail, like they did to Gloria. And that is wrong. She was putting people into jail, direct criminal contempt they call it, because their pants were hanging low.
What?
Like, you know, the young men, they wear their pants down with the underwear showing.
Where's the law that says that she can do that?
You know what? A judge has the right to use their discretion to do something like that, but they're not supposed to do it. We're not supposed to be electing judges like that.
What? You mean to tell me if you wear the wrong color lipstick and she doesn't like it, she can put you under that restraint?
Well, I think that judge thinks so too. These judges are running their own little fiefdoms, and now and I don't see how it's any different from what Judge Stewart did. How can you chain somebody for 2 hours or 3 hours or whatever which she denies on the stand too. Gloria said it was 2 or 3 hours. It wasn't 10 minutes. And also in the decision, you will notice it doesn't say they threatened her pets, and yet she told everybody that they threatened to round up her pets, take them down to animal care and control, and euthanize them, and you know that that courtroom had that power, correct? Am I right? One of those deputies, they could have easily sent somebody to her house, gotten those pets, and had them under the needle.
Because I will tell you that when Judge Kawamoto said that I couldn't visit my mother, and I said, how can you do that?
Exactly.
This is my mother. And she told the court, in court she said, if Cooper goes down there to see her mother and she's arrested by a Chicago police officer, bring her back to my court. Don't take her anywhere else. You bring her to my court. What is that? What do you mean, bring her to my court? What law? As a matter of fact, one of the other family members that we connected with, Miriam Solo signed a court order that prohibited her to visit. This lady couldn't visit her father in a VA hospital. She had to be 10,000 square yards, more than 5 football fields away from her father. Who is Miriam Solo to make any kind of comment like that? I mean, who is this person? Why isn't someone looking in on this? Why isn't there somebody?
Oversight.
Yes. I used to be in a group that we sat and we took notes in the court, for court watchers.
Like I do. I'm a blogger.
And
that's how I got this decision.
Well, they can't do it to me. I mean, because I'm not a part of that court system. I'm John Q. Public sitting in there watching what's going on in a public building that's against the law, and they get to carry away with it.
Well, exactly. I brought that up. There are numerous U.S. Supreme Court decisions that say you have the right to sit in a courtroom and blog and take notes or whatever you want to do. The public can do that as long as you sit there quietly and do that, and you're not a disturbance.
So?
But on the 18th floor, and it's only on courtrooms where the behavior is questionable. We have seen the deputies take away pen and paper. They always go after my laptop. Always after my laptop, and now I don't even give it to them. I don't even let them get near it. I'm just like, I'll go up to Timothy Evans and tell him, you're taking I have all of my client data on there. I can't have somebody taking my laptop. And not only that, they wave it around and they do whatever. They don't know how to handle a laptop. These people are deputies. They carry a gun, Maybe they shoot themselves in the foot, but they're going to ruin my valuable client data and my intellectual property. I don't need that. So I've gotten in numerous fights, and for that, they took away my attorney ID. That's right.
Did you get that back?
No, I didn't get it back. I FOIA'd the documents. They said it's because I was argumentative with the deputies, but I was arguing the First Amendment so that I could blog, so that I could be here today to run this blog, to tell the truth about what's going on with Bev, what's going on with Gloria, what's going on with
John
Alan
Wyman,
Frank,
yeah.
John Wyman, all these people. I got a new one today. Some lady, Bev, it was heartbreaking. She sent an email to Ken. You probably got a copy of it. Her name was Barbara. No, her last name is Barber, and her first name, I don't remember it. But she's had the same story going on in Indiana for 5 years. I called her up and I said, you know what? I'm so sorry to hear what happened to you. I apologize on behalf of all attorneys. I would love to help you any way I can. Let me know. Read my blog. I know people. I can't promise you to fix this. And this is an intelligent woman. She graduated at the top of her class in engineering school. And they're doing it to her. Roseanne Miller, it's another one of those stories. He keeps her in the basement. It's a filthy, dirty, stinky urine and feces place. But when everybody comes out, it's a clean room upstairs. His mom has been Stockholmed, so she's afraid of everybody and anything. She won't say anything because he'll beat the crap out of her. And she's been fighting this system for 5 years now, and she has gotten nowhere. She was banned from seeing her mother, like Barbara Stone.
We were in that court 7 years. I can't believe 7 years. I only first, saw my mother, the condition she was in, and what happened is that Miriam Solo told me not to go see my mother. I said, what do you mean don't see my mother?
Yeah, right. Are they supposed to be saying see your mother?
No,
she
said don't. She said, I don't want you to see your mother.
Something's going on there.
And that was at another nursing home that she moved my mother out of.
But you know that I tell people, see your parents. Go as often as you can. Even if you have to take off work, go during the week because they're going to pull something. If they don't want you there, they are going to pull something.
These people, Rena Moss, we had Rena on the show, and Rena was doing nothing. Her physician gave her the wrong medication that made her, not coherent. And
it was just a medication problem.
It was a medication problem, and the physician himself put her into guardianship. And I had Rena on the program.
So the physician creates it, puts her in a guardianship, and probably puts him in a nursing home that he owns.
And
brilliant.
And he gets the money.
And there's no ethics reports. There's
nothing.
No conflicts.
And for 2 years, I think she was in front of Judge Stewart. And I said, well, what's the matter? This is medical related. This has nothing to do with your physical being other than the medication you were given.
That's right. The statute says it has to be a disability and it has to affect you, so you're making unreasonable decisions.
And for 2 years she was fighting to get herself out of there.
Did she ever get out of it?
She did get out. Absolutely, she did get out. How
much did they charge her for that?
I don't know. It was a lot of
That's
money.
scary.
And not only that, is that she went back to the doctor who she suffered from Parkinson's. So her hands were quivery, were shaky, were whatever.
That doesn't make you incompetent,
And
though.
he said he would do it again. I said, oh my God, he has to be reported. She said she did report him to the AMA. And
Well, you have to report to the Illinois Department of Professional Regulation, IDPFR.
But not only was she reported him, but he was reported in about 6 or 7 other hospitals for what he did. He just cherry picks who he wants, and he puts them in nursing homes.
Yep, because he owns probably stock in the nursing homes, and the doctor should be required to disclose that before you go and you see a doctor, because they can easily give you
Terrible.
medication that throws you in a nursing home.
This medication that he prescribed for her was totally intolerant with her body, and it was just making her not a person that you could hold a conversation with. She said she was in very dire straits,
Right.
but it was the medication. She said as soon as the medication was reestablished, in a coordinate amount that her body could tolerate, and what it was for, she said she was fine. There was not a problem. What I'm thinking is he knew that if he would up it or whatever the ingredients is in that, that this would make her go bananas. And so for him to be able to place these charges against her, he had to see her acting out and show someone else seeing this, and that's how they were able to establish it. But it could be for anything, a fall down the stairs, and someone could put them into a guardianship. How ridiculous is that, JoAnne?
Well, I just wanted to get back to the decision, and now we've talked about all these things. We know that there are huge problems on the 18th floor. We
Terrible.
have dozens and dozens of problems. So I just want to read to you a little statement. This is my favorite
Go
statement
ahead.
from here. The fact that they fought with the family, the fact that some persons involved in the psych's guardianship, for example, the judge who found Mary disabled, did not testify, does not change our conclusions. Judges are presumed to be impartial, and allegations of deliberate corruption by a court are presumed false. Is that the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard of? Judges are next to God or God. They're running little queendoms in their courtroom. Now, I have your joke. My son just told this to me tonight.
Okay.
And it feeds right into here.
Okay, let's hear
so
it.
now we have to presume that judges are God or next to God. They're always right. They're always perfect. And the families are always wrong. They are lying, thieving, whatever they are, okay? So, you tell me this. You're standing where are you standing if you're standing in a place where you have one Illinois ex-governor on your left and one on your right? Where are you standing?
In Illinois.
No, you're no, you didn't get it.
No.
Where would you be standing where you would have two of them together?
Oh, in jail.
In a federal
prison. All
also
right.
known as Club Fed Med.
Oh,
So,
geez.
if there is a presumption that judges are perfect, they're honest, they're wonderful human beings, why is it I tell that joke and everybody gets it and laughs? I haven't had anybody not get it.
See,
so
look
where
at
are these
that.
people coming from? What were they taking? They were taking that medication that they put that woman's mother on when they wrote this opinion. See, that's it. They must have Parkinson's and they were taking it. There actually was one doctor on the board, and you could tell. He is so old, he is like half out of it. At the end of the decision, he said, I understand you're upset with probate, but why did you have to write that blog? Does he have a clue? They planted him right on there. Is that the dumbest question ever?
Why?
5 days of trial, and at the end of the trial, that's a question he comes up with.
Why did you? Because we need the truth to come out. We need sunshine to come in and clean up all this rancid garbage that's up on that 18th floor. This is terrible, JoAnne. Really, really bad. Really bad.
Well, one of the things that I also wanted to talk about is I did put on the blog, Sweden has a different system than we have, and they've taken the money and the profit completely out of it. They have something that's called a Gottman, which is a God man, and what they do is they come into a house or wherever the senior is, they try to keep them in place, and they help them write their bills, they help them make sure they get to their doctor's appointments and all that other kind of stuff. The person is a volunteer, they're paid their expenses. But they are a volunteer. They are trained, they are helped out. There is an overseer for what they do.
Okay.
They manage everything they do. And Sweden has nowhere near the complaints that we're experiencing here. And your mother would still have $1.5 million then.
And she would still be alive, JoAnne. My mother would still be alive.
Correct. And if they have to go to court, the attorneys that go to court are volunteers, or they are paid like public defenders by the state. And it's only the most serious things they take to court. In Sweden, as you know, they don't stuff everybody in nursing homes and say, too bad you're here, now we're going to sell your assets. It's my understanding that's commonly what they do in communist countries. That's what makes them communist, right? The state steps in and says, oh, you have a beautiful house, we're going to take
We'll
that.
take that.
We're going to take that because that's for the good of the country, and you need to go to a nursing home where you can be fed bologna sandwiches every day. So
No, they do that in jail. Bologna sandwiches in jail.
Well, remember-
In the nursing homes, they give you whatever's in the tube, and sometimes they don't even give you that. I mean,
Exactly.
and we have pictures with Mother with that tube thing. It's really
I know, it's
sad.
It's sad. You know, there are instances when you do it. If somebody's had a stroke and they can't eat, like my grandfather, he had to have a feeding tube. It does happen. He just couldn't eat anymore because he couldn't move his lips and his mouth. That makes sense. But for anybody else, if you can eat, you should be allowed to eat. This
No.
is ridiculous to
No.
treat these old people like they're some kind of toddler in a Chinese nursing home.
Not only
or a
that,
Chinese
is they
orphanage.
talk over them. It's not like they're
yeah.
a part of a conversation. They talk over them. My mother kept saying, get me out of here, get me out of here. I said, I'm doing the best I can. And I was told, you're not allowed to talk about the case at all. You don't tell your mother anything about the case. I said, of course I will, because she's entitled to know what her place is, where she's going, what's going on with her life. She's entitled to know that. They didn't want me to say anything. I can't abide by that. That's criminal. That's a criminal act
It's
in
lying.
and of itself.
It's lying. It's fraud. And not only that, it's called gaslighting. And studies have shown that when you gaslight a senior, you can make their dementia far worse. Because then they don't know what
They
is
don't know what's
reality.
going on.
And then they become despondent and they become withdrawn. There was actually a really good movie on the internet, and I can't remember, it was on Netflix, but it was like bringing seniors alive through music. And they took all these seniors, they're just sitting there on their tables, you know, leaning over and all that other kind of stuff. And they started giving them iPods with the music that they loved from when they, and these people came alive. People that were using walkers and wheelchairs were standing up and dancing again.
See.
And you know what they did to that program? They got rid of it.
They took it off.
They took it away. I used to go into nursing homes and sing to the people and play my violin, and all of a sudden that's not needed anymore. Why? Because it makes the people live again. It returns them to a normal state, and they don't want that.
Well, you know, everybody's talking about what to do with Alzheimer's, and they say you give them what they feel they are the happiest moments, the times they show.
Right.
You show them pictures, you play music, you let them, there's dog therapy, pet therapy, they bring
Right.
in the animals. So if they're trying to encourage memory, enhancement.
Vitality
Yeah,
and revival.
why are these the fact that they're corrupt? Can you tell me one nursing home that is not? I don't know. If you're a nursing home and you think you're doing well, contact me. We'll put you on the program. I bet 1 million people will contact you to let you know that they have loved ones that they would like to put there, if in fact that's necessary to do that. But all of these Morris is Formis nursing homes corrupt. All of he had to pay $150 million to the federal government for taxes. If you have $150 million cash that you can pay to the federal government for lack of taxes, you know how much they are taking? Lives, liberties, finances, everything from these senior citizens and family members. Why would I have to pay to visit my own mother $160 in a nursing home that I didn't even put her in? I don't understand that, JoAnne. I don't understand that at all.
Well, actually, where I live, we do have some really good nursing homes. They are, first of all, if they're for-profit, I don't think you're going to find one of them that isn't going to improperly treat the elderly. They're bastions of just problems and corruption and all kinds of things going on. But we do have Nord Crossing, and I have been there, and it is a good nursing home. They really watch out of this, for the seniors. There's no smell. There's no anything like that, okay? I have not seen them hold down anybody and shoot them up, okay, like I have in other nursing homes if people act out. There's another one, Danish Home. But these nursing homes have very, very long lists. And maybe I'll give you the director of that. These are not-for-profit, so there's no profit involved. The people come in there and they're just concerned about the seniors, and the management isn't worried about, I don't know how much money they have to make. And I hope they're not doing what Ken talks about, which is selling beds, which I think that's what your doctor was doing.
Yeah.
There are 3 currencies in nursing homes. One of those is just the outright investment. There is a partnership or the management level where you can take even more money, and then they actually go out and sell beds, which means that if you get a bed, if you're a doctor or if you're a professional in the business, you keep it full, and then they pay you a percentage of those profits. I don't know anything more disgusting or disreputable than I've ever heard of that. What I would like to know is why doctors who put somebody in a nursing home are not required to file ethics reports.
Of course, they should be.
Any doctor, they should be. Why isn't the ARDC filing ethics reports?
Well, why is the ARDC relieving you of 3 years of practice of law so that you could be financially stable? I mean, this is terrible.
Well, I don't make that much money anyway, truth be known. It's not going to affect my income that much. If I went back to practicing, if I were back as an engineer, I'd make more money.
Let's see.
This is the crazy thing about it. And some of these things in here that they say in the decision don't make sense. For instance, they go through this long diatribe about how I'm genuinely concerned about the elderly. I'm genuinely concerned about nursing homes. I'm genuinely concerned about what's going on in probate. Then they conclude it's all misplaced. What is that? How could that all be misplaced? It doesn't even make it. Does it make any sense to you?
No, it doesn't.
You may not have read this decision.
Who is the one who put this?
Well, we have 3 of them. One of them is Sang-Yul Lee. He was the chair, and he was the one. If you read the transcripts, and I'll get them up on the. I've got some of them up there from the pretrial, but their conduct with me was completely shameful. They got rid of Ken Dukowski right away, who is absolutely a wonderful, marvelous lawyer.
Yes, he is.
If I had to choose a lawyer, it's him for sure,
yes,
right? He is the one to choose.
Yes.
I think that he would still be practicing. He is now retired.
Forcibly
retired, but he is with Judy, his wife, his beloved wife.
Okay.
But it is a horrible, horrible loss to the community when we can't find honest lawyers. And lawyers like me and Ken that will do it for, little cost or free. We do it for low cost or free. You come to me, you tell me, I got to make a living, I got to pay my rent. But I've got all kinds of cases where they rack up hundreds of $1,000s in bills, and I still work on your case. If it's one where the client generally, they're poor, of course the probate court took all the money. They're either on welfare food stamps like John Wyman, who recently they tried to go after him for $8,000 judgment. This is Sharon Rudy, because he saved his mother from death.
This is true, he did.
Yes, so we have to file 1401s and fraud on the court on that one. I think it's fraud on the court when Sharon Rudy went and told the court that they should go after John Wyman and file all these things in Colorado, when in fact he saved her life and let her live another 3 years. That sounds like fraud on the court. I don't think there's a statute of limitations there. Anyway, so that's basically what they say, is that I'm a good person, I'm generous, and by the way, you and your husband did a wonderful job coming in there. It was terrible weather. That's how they picked this. January, bad weather. Then March, horrible weather, so nobody would show up. And yet people showed up. And if they didn't show up, they read on the proceedings on the blog, and they said, oh, you did such a great job. And that tribunal is just a bunch of people living. I think the word is living heart donor. Living heart donors, these people are.
I don't think they even know why they're there. They're supposed to be volunteers. I don't understand. They're certainly being paid for their time and their service.
No, they're not being paid for their time and service, and it's my understanding that the governor and other people appoint them. But we seem to have a pattern of certain people being picked for certain cases, I think. Here, the fact that respondent made her baseless allegations widely available by publishing them on a public blog created a genuine risk of harm to the reputations of the individuals involved. Now, these are people all over the blogs.
This is because you told the truth.
I told the truth. That's
Oh,
right.
my
You are not
God.
allowed in Illinois to tell the truth. As somebody pointed out, on the ABA comments, which I loved, in Illinois, it is better to be the thief than the person who reports the theft.
See.
It is better to be the liar than the one who reports the lie to the authorities. That is what the Nation on the ABA website said about Illinois, and our probate court on the ABA blog, who had to take down most of the comments.
You know, the point of going into law is to protect the rights of the innocent people. But when you have a corrupt system and you're trying to be in there and fight for the right of the people, and you are an honorable person, how can you survive the corruption that's so deeply embedded? But the more that we come out with this, the more that we tell you, and we certainly will tell you over and over and over again, the fact that these people, that 18th floor, I lived the corruption. I lived what they did. They stole, they took, they murdered, and I could do nothing about it because they made the jurisdiction of taking my mother from me without my ability to even say anything, because Miriam Solo was the guardian ad litem, and David Martin and Melissa Martin, father and daughter, they make double the amount. It's anything to pull from the estate to leave nothing in there. But I want to know, was he communing with my mother's spirit for 2 years that we were going down to court? Mother was already passed away. This coming February, the 25th, she will be gone 4 years. 4 years already.
And what was the last attorney's fees taken out of the state? A couple years ago?
Sure.
Well, they got to drain every single penny. Now, normally what they do is after they drain every single penny, they come up with some excuse. They go back through the accounting. They did this in one case, and I'm not going to mention the name of. They find something that they forgot to bill, and then they have the court enter a judgment against the dead person so that if anybody finds any money anyplace, they get paid first. Have you heard? I've heard of that one. That's on the states,
I didn't
too.
know.
Yeah.
That I didn't know.
Well, and that was David Martin, I believe. He's good. He's good.
He's a big thief. He's a very big thief.
Here, let me read this. Respondent does not understand the nature and seriousness of her misconduct. All right? You know why? Because I'm telling the public the truth, right?
The truth. We tell the truth.
This is an aggravating factor and supports our recommendation that the suspension continue until further order of court. These people that wrote this, that want all of these lies, all of these, as Ken says, strings of felonies committed against our vulnerable, most vulnerable elderly.
Vulnerable, yes.
Your mother who was killed.
Yes.
They want me to have to go back before them and prove that I have some kind of ethics and morals to be a lawyer again.
What?
That's the same thing as Arlo Guthrie in Alice's restaurant saying, you want me to have to prove that I am moral before I can join an organization that's going to go out and kill people.
That's right, corrupt. That's right.
It's the same thing right here. It's right here.
What contact have you had with Chief Judge Timothy Evans? Because we wrote letters and we got nothing back.
Yeah, you get nothing back. And if you write letters to the ARDC, if you look at my blog, you can find crazy nonsensical responses coming back, like yours. It's just, they don't, the letters don't even make any sense. It's kind of like somebody told them, go outside, like smoke a joint, come back, write a response to your valid assertions.
Yeah, yeah.
And what kind of karma is that for these people? I would never do something like that. These complaints are valid. They have to be investigated and addressed.
This is not just happening now, JoAnne. This has been happening. This is the fulminating.
But they have not had me and Ken and Lanre Amu blog about it.
Oh, Mr. Amu,
This is new. We are
Mr.
new.
Amu.
And to his credit, and you take a look at my blog, I put up his writ of cert. I think it might be late, but I'm not sure. Anyway, he found a lawyer who was a white male who was accused of saying that some judges were corrupt. I forget what it is. He only got 5 months plus 60 days probation. See? But if you're a woman, and I'll put that in there, For, you got to have 3 years. And for sure, if you're a black, male, mouthy immigrant,
Mr. Amu.
he got 3 years.
Yeah.
For sure. You cannot talk about corruption in Cook County. And we're seriously deluded in thinking that I can run a blog and I can talk about it. Mr. Amu can send me postings. Ken Dukowski can send me postings. We can warn you what's going to happen on the 18th floor. And do you think that I hold back? Do you think I lie? No.
No. With the information that you have, I can attest. I lived it. I was in there. I know it because I saw what they did to us and I saw what they did to my mother.
And you heard about other cases too.
Absolutely,
All kinds of other crazy cases. You sit in there. I mean, you could not make this stuff up, as Ken says, for a novel.
No, this cannot be. This
crazy
is true.
stuff.
Yes, this is true. And as a matter of fact, I sat in there before our case was heard, and I heard one young man go up before Judge Kawamoto, and he said his mother needs teeth. His mother evidently didn't have teeth. He was asking for finances.
A partial or
to get
dentures,
dentures
like
for
that,
his mother.
Dentures.
He says, how can she eat? How can she survive? She can't eat unless she has teeth. But the sister was the guardian and refused to give the brother monies for the mother so she could eat. It's the mother's money, but they gave...
But they paid for something else.
And yes, they gave Judge Kawamoto gave $96,000 to the sister so she could buy a headstone for the mother for $96,000.
But not teeth.
When the brother asked, please, the judge for some monies to be able to buy dentures for his mother so she could eat. I sat and I could not believe what I was hearing.
I got a better story for you. Right now, it's going on.
This is the truth.
Listen to
this.
this.
Is the truth.
The estate is taking in $25,000 a month. Guess what? The ward and the 24-hour caretaker son are getting per month total $1,100. I tried to get it increased to $2,500 a month. $2,500. Dave Martin stood there and said that wasn't possible. And I asked the judge, I stood right there in court, I said, well, what is the poverty level for two people? He can't work, what is he going to do?
Yeah.
Right? What is the poverty level? And she said it was basically $1,500 a month, $18,000 a year. And Dave Martin stood there and said that was okay, that was reasonable, and that is exactly the way we always do it in probate. So I want you to know, if Dave Martin is there and he's representing you and a family that's living in the house, he wants you to live below the poverty line. And here's the kicker. You want to know the kicker? Because of that, my client can get food stamps. So let's take the totality of this. I said, well, Your Honor, doesn't that he's getting food stamps? Sounds like we got some food stamp fraud going on here. Because David Martin and all these other people are standing there saying, don't give this family any more money. They go and they get food stamps on the backs of the taxpayers when the estate is getting $25,000 a month that they won't give to the family.
This is their money.
Fraud.
I don't understand.
It is fraud.
They're stealing from their own families. Who are they to make? Who are they to make determinations? They make of life and death, as they did with my mother, and we didn't get a penny. And they took all the money. Everything was cleaned out, lock, stock, and barrel.
That's exactly what they do. And this was a terrible case, too, where they were trying to get the property. They have a $4 million piece of property downtown. They were playing games with it, trying to get it to go into foreclosures. They could sell it to their friends. And I put a stop to that. And I said, you don't take another contract unless there's hard money on it. That's how the family started getting $25,000 a month, because I stood there with the son and I said, this is ridiculous. You're not doing it anymore. I'm going to start screaming. I screamed on the blog. That's probably another reason why I'm in trouble. I am in so much trouble. Nobody would ever believe how much trouble I am
you don't understand.
for telling the truth.
This is the truth.
It's the
truth.
truth.
This is the truth. It's shocking to your ears. You think, oh, no, they're just making this up. This is the truth. This is the real truth. I don't wish anyone to go through this. This is the truth. Why do you think Judge Kawamoto left Illinois? Why do you think these other attorneys leave the state or wind up in federal prison? They get the hell out before the cuffs. We're waiting for silver bracelets for Miriam Solo and
Orange
Judge Kawamoto
jumpsuits.
and orange jumpsuits for David Martin and his daughter Melissa Martin. Let them know.
Live at 43 Acorn Road in Barrington Hills. You used to be able to get the aerial on
Yeah.
Google. They took it down. I know why they took it down. This was a mansion, folks, a mansion. And the value on Zillow is like $2.5 million. So go Zillow it. That's still up until I'm sure Dave takes
Wait,
it down.
David Martin bought $1 million mansion in Malibu, California
Correct.
with mother's money.
Exactly.
With my mother's money, and they wouldn't give her money to bury her.
He's got to have a place to escape to.
Oh my God. Thank you for watching.
Thank
See you
you.
next week on North Shore Live Cooper's Corner. Contact JoAnne Denison, wonderful attorney, wonderful human being, and a godsend to all those of us who are in need of her assistance. Thank you for watching. And have a good evening. See you next week.